Hi there, it's Holly Klein again with Willamette ESD. Today we're going to talk about motivating your student. So we've been looking at the ABCs, the antecedent, behavior, and consequence. Antecedent is what occurs before the behavior. The behavior is what your student has said or done, their actions. And the consequence is what happens after the behavior. And when we're talking about motivating your student, it's going to be a positive consequence for the behaviors that we're looking for. So our previous trainings have focused on the strategies that address the antecedent, what occurs before. So you point to a first then card and say first, class, and then you get a break. Your student participates in the online class, that's the behavior. And then today we're going to look at the consequence. So the student takes a break and completes an activity of their choice. So when we are looking at reinforcement, we want to make sure we're reinforcing the right behavior. This is a classic situation that sometimes occurs in a classroom. Student burps in class, classmates laugh, and what ends up happening is the student continues that behavior because they were reinforced with the social reaction from their peers. So we're going to, previously we talked about setting up for success. So all of those things that we talked about with the structure and visual supports will be the strategies that help prevent some of those challenging behaviors or work avoidance that we're seeing. So you're kind of setting up for success, getting those antecedent supports in place for your student. And then what we're going to do now as the consequence of those desired behaviors is to reinforce and keep those behaviors and those good work habits going. Because you know we all respond well to positive reinforcement. So we're going to watch a video here, again from the Star Autism Support website. And again, you have access to all of these videos at any time.
Hello and welcome to Making the Most Out of Home Supports, Teaching Home Routines Part 2, Make It Motivating, presented by Star Autism Support. Our goals for today's session include understanding why motivation is an important factor to consider during routines, learning how to respond to your child during routines in order to make negative behaviors ineffective and increase positive behaviors, as well as gathering ideas for using positive reinforcement during routines. Daily home routines are often challenging for children with autism and other developmental delays, but there are ways to make them easier for your child. For a review on why routines are important, you can watch the Introduction to Functional Routines at Home webinar. Our key to success for today: when children are motivated to complete a routine, they are more likely to succeed and be independent. Why do challenging behaviors arise during home routines for children with autism and other disabilities? First, children don't always understand the words we speak to them. Our verbal communication can be confusing to them. They may be saying, "I don't understand what you are telling me to do, so I'm getting frustrated." Next, it can be hard for children with autism to shift their attention or change activities when asked. Through their behavior, they may be communicating, "I don't want to leave this activity and go to the next one." Also, communicating wants and needs to others can be hard for individuals with autism. They may be thinking, "I want to tell you that I don't like this activity, but I don't know how." Finally, sensory difficulties are common with autism spectrum disorders and can be overwhelming to the child. During routines, sensitivity to sounds, textures, and light can affect the way they react to people and events. In part 1 of this series, we learned about the ABC model of behavior in relation to routines. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, please consider watching that webinar first, as we will be referring back to concepts introduced in part 1. The ABC model helps us examine the events surrounding behavior in order to know what to change during routines. It also gives us information about replacement skills to teach so our children know what to do during routines. In part 1, we discuss strategies to change the antecedent. Today, we will learn some strategies for changing the consequence. Last time, we learned about Sam, who has a hard time transitioning from TV time to his bedtime routine. When his parents turn the TV off, he screams and cries, which often results in him getting more TV time before bed. In part 1, we learned how Sam's parents could make his bedtime routine more predictable and limit distractions to set him up for success. Now we will cover some ideas for motivating Sam to complete his bedtime routine independently. Based on what we've learned about the ABC model, we can identify which parts of the routine can be changed. Children must learn positive behaviors to replace any negative behaviors that happen during routines, and adults must reinforce those desired behaviors so their children know what to do. Let's look at some consequence strategies that will help with this. We must respond in ways that make challenging behavior ineffective, and more importantly, reinforce and provide positive attention to desired behaviors. In order to encourage your child to use replacement behaviors during routines, provide positive reinforcement. Reinforcement is when your child gets something motivating after using a certain skill. Motivators, also called reinforcers, increase the behavior or skill you want your child to do by telling the child, do it again. All people are more likely to engage in a behavior that is followed by something we like. Examples of reinforcers include tangible rewards like toys, materials, and favorite foods, favorite activities, social reinforcement like verbal praise, hugs, and high fives, and token boards, which we'll cover in just a moment. Extinction, on the other hand, can be used to limit attention or rewards for negative behaviors. If a challenging behavior no longer gets your child what they want, whether it's your attention, an item, or a preferred activity, the behavior will decrease over time. This is sometimes referred to as planned ignoring. But remember, don't ignore your child, ignore the behavior. We can avoid reinforcing negative behaviors by ignoring them, but we must teach our children new and positive behaviors to replace them. Oftentimes, we must use both of these strategies together. Ignore the challenging behavior, but provide lots of reinforcement and positive attention to the replacement behavior. Some children learn best when they receive their reinforcer immediately after completing a certain skill or task. This strategy, called one-to-one reinforcement, is especially helpful to use when your child is learning a brand new skill, or if this is a less preferred or more challenging task. This video shows a father using one-to-one reinforcement with his son after the cleanup routine.
All right, Quinty. You've been cleaning up your room. You just need to put your shoes away. Oh, that's putting your shoes away. Way to go. Give me 5. Yes!
Token reinforcement is a great system to teach to your child in order to motivate them to complete certain tasks and routines. Token boards provide a visual, systematic way to reinforce desired behaviors while also teaching important weighting skills. First, give your child a choice of what they want to earn, such as time to play with their favorite slime activity. You can use a picture to represent their choice or simply pair the actual item with the token board. As your child completes tasks, demonstrates desired behaviors, or completes steps of the routine, they earn a token, or a star in this example. Each token provides immediate positive feedback to your child in a visual and tactile way, letting them know they've done the right thing. Once the student earns all of their tokens, they receive their choice of reinforcer. You can find a printable version of this token board on our website under the Behavior Supports section of Free Home Supports. Let's watch an example of a parent using a token board with her child as he completes his homework. She uses pennies as tokens to incorporate teaching the value of money, and once her son earns 5 pennies, he counts them back to her. A great way to incorporate math skills too. Also notice how she uses positive descriptive praise with him, telling him good reading and great job making a list. Always pair social praise with any tangible rewards so that those rewards can be faded out over time.
Read. Go swim. Good reading. Penny on. Read number 2. Cook with Mom. Good reading. Penny on. Read number 3. Play with Cannon. Penny on. Great reading. Read number 4. Play at the park. Awesome reading. Penny on. And what are all of these things? The things I like to do. Good job making a list. Penny on. Count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great job doing work with Mom.
Here's another video example of a parent using a penny board with her son to encourage him to put his shoes on independently. Notice how she pairs descriptive, positive praise with each penny. Her son has learned to manage his own token board and can put the pennies on himself. A great way to teach self-management skills.
You're ready to go outside. Go get your shoes on. Nice walking to get your shoes on. Put a penny on. Nice job. Pick up your shoes and sit down. Good sitting. Penny on. You put your shoe on. Give yourself a penny. Get your other shoe. Penny on. You put your shoe on. Penny on. What did you earn?
Starburst.
You can individualize your child's token board to their interests as a bonus way of increasing motivation. You can use your child's favorite characters to create special tokens. Make a token board related to their favorite foods and activities, like this pizza token board. Or if your child likes puzzles, you can create a token board made of different puzzle pieces. However, token boards do not have to be fancy to be effective. Simple check marks written on a piece of paper are a quick, low-tech option, as well as an age-appropriate alternative for older children. A quick note on punishment as a consequence strategy. Some common punishments include time out or time away, loss of privileges such as taking away technology and favorite toys or activities, or scolding your child. While punishment can be a short-term solution for stopping a negative behavior, it does not teach children replacement behaviors or what to do instead, and therefore may not improve behavior long-term. Compared to punishment, providing positive feedback and limiting attention to negative behaviors are more effective strategies to teach new skills. Always consider what replacement skills you can teach your child using positive reinforcement and extinction to increase the likelihood of permanent behavior change. How can we use positive reinforcement to make routines motivating? First, provide some form of positive reinforcement when your child uses new skills or performs routine steps correctly. Be sure to reinforce good attempts or hard work as well in order to keep your child motivated and prevent frustration. Always provide highly motivating and immediate reinforcement when your child is learning a new skill or encountering difficult steps of the routine. And finally, provide reinforcement even when your child needs help during a routine. Work on fading out your level of support to encourage independence and teach your child the crucial skill of asking for help during routines. Learning to ask for help teaches your child to use words rather than using behaviors to communicate, and also encourages flexibility skills so that your child knows what to do if there is a change in their routine. Let's return to our friend Sam. His family taught him the steps of his bedtime routine and encouraged him to complete them in the same order each time in order to keep the routine consistent and predictable. They reinforced him with a token once he completed each step. Putting his toys away and turning off the TV, putting on pajamas, using the toilet, washing his hands and face, brushing his teeth, and getting in bed. At first, he earned some iPad time after getting all of his tokens. Since turning the TV off was an antecedent to his tantruming behavior, he learned that he could earn screen time by following his parents' directions and completing his bedtime routine. Eventually, his family could fade out the tokens and iPad time so that Sam was able to complete his bedtime routine and earn special reading time with Dad before going to sleep. As we learned in part 1, first then is a great strategy to use in order to make routines and expectations predictable for children. It's also an effective strategy for making routines motivating. Using first then lets the child know that a fun activity is coming, but that other responsibilities must be completed first. Let's watch a video of a parent using first then paired with a visual to encourage her son to complete his homework. Remember, you can find this printable first then board and activity icons on our website.
I want to do my homework.
Okay, Jackie, let's look. First homework, then tablet time. Let's do your work. Nice job. You traced your numbers. You did your homework. Here's the tablet. Good job.
Using descriptive, positive praise is a great strategy for building motivation that goes beyond a simple good job. Descriptive praise lets your child know exactly what they're doing well so they know to do it again. Let's watch a video example of descriptive praise in action. You will also notice that these children are earning special stickers after completing their work, another great reinforcement option.
Jordan's blaming me to say this.
Look at how focused you two are.
You did say that, stop.
When you two focus like that, you really stay in the lines. Georgia, you finished that whole story. Why don't you grab a sticker and put it on? You can.
I want to look at all of them.
You can also make reinforcement systems in a pinch using a paper and pen. Here are 2 examples of reinforcement charts that span the course of a week. In the first example, the parent lists the expectations she has for her sons as they complete their schoolwork, and they receive check marks throughout the day for following these expectations. At the end of the week, if the boys have enough check marks, they earn ice cream. The example on the right is another simply weekly reinforcement system. If Liberty completes her homework each day, she receives a check mark, and if she receives 5 check marks for the week, she earns a page from her sticker book. In addition to schoolwork, you can use daily or weekly reinforcement systems with a variety of home routines. In this video, we see Olivia earning stars for folding laundry. Notice how Dad pairs positive praise with each star and how the environment is set up with limited distractions. Once she earns all her stars, she gets to make a choice from the treasure box.
Olivia, you are doing your work. You get a star. 2 more stars that you get in the treasure chest. Keep up the good work. Olivia, that's doing your work. Awesome job. You have 2 stars. 1 more. doing your work. You are working so hard. You get another star. Look, let's count your stars.
1, 2, 3.
3 stars. It's time for the treasure chest.
To wrap up, here are some factors to consider for motivating your child to learn replacement behaviors during routines. First, teach replacement behaviors at home first. It can be challenging for children to use skills in public places like parks or restaurants because there are so many distractions. Teach new skills at home and heavily reinforce your child for using them so they are more prepared to use these skills out in the community. Next, behavior change takes time. Your child has undoubtedly had many opportunities in their life to practice challenging behaviors. It will take time and consistency to replace those behaviors. Sometimes, behaviors get worse before they get better. Keep trying and you will succeed. Consistency is key for shaping behavior. Finally, remember that changing behavior is no easy task. Take it slow and celebrate small improvements. The key to success we learned today: when children are motivated to complete a routine, they are more likely to succeed and be independent. Reflect on the following questions as we end today's webinar. What activities and materials are reinforcing to your child at home? And how can you incorporate positive reinforcement strategies during routines at home? During part 3 of this series, we'll discuss strategies for using visual supports during routines. Be sure to check out the free home supports on the Star Autism Support website for resources and ideas to help your child with routines at home. Thanks for watching.
All right. Okay, so like they were saying, we need to make sure that we're finding a good replacement behavior, and we're looking at changing the consequence so that we're reinforcing the correct behavior. So we want to make sure that we don't let undesired behavior be effective in meeting the student's needs. A classic example is the young child who throws a tantrum in the grocery store because they want a desired item. And of course, they always put those desired items right at the checkout. Very convenient for families. But if a parent gives in to the child's crying and screaming for that item, then what they've done actually is taught the child that they throw a tantrum in order to get that desired item. And what we want to do is teach a replacement behavior. So what we'd like to see, either the child asking for a desired item or a predetermined item, or displaying expected behaviors in the grocery store in order to receive a desired item or activity following the grocery store trip. So that's what we want to really make sure that we are attaching the consequence, the positive consequence to the behavior that we would like to see from your child. So we're going to need to identify what that behavior is, whether it's a verbal skill or specific behaviors, and then determine what is motivating to your child so we can use that item or that activity to elicit the desired response. We need to remember that what is motivating to one student may not be motivating to another, or what we perceive as motivating may not be what our child perceives as motivating. We may think giving social praise is what's going to motivate our child, and it may do the opposite. And then there's some kids that will do great with the social praise. So you really need to find out what it is that motivates your child. So we can look at a variety of things. Toys, what are your child's preferred toys? Do they like Legos or trains or cars or figurines or fidget toys? Some students really like certain materials like markers or Play-Doh. They might like doing puzzles or looking at magazines or comics. Sometimes food items, just small amounts of a preferred food that they don't have available at other times. We want to make sure that we'll use food if there aren't other reinforcers, but we want to be careful with that. There might be favorite activities that reinforce your child. Swinging, doing an art activity, playing music, going to the park, video games. Social interaction. So it might be reading a book together. It might be going for a walk or playing a game or a video chat with a friend. Social praise. So some students do really well with just social praise alone. High fives, thumbs up, smiling, cheering. We always want to make sure to pair the social praise with a tangible item that we might be giving to your student, just so they associate that social praise is a good thing, and eventually we want to be able to fade out the tangible things and have them just be responsive to the social praise. We use a lot of token boards. Some token boards in and of themselves are reinforcing. Some students just like to do the work and like to see their progress with the token board. Sticker charts, some students just love the stickers, and so that might be enough. A penny board, oftentimes the token boards will earn something at the end. So sometimes a student will be okay with just the stickers and the checkoffs and they're happy with that, and others will need a tangible reinforcer following earning all the tokens. Okay, so some tips for making reinforcers successful. You're going to get, whoops, sorry about that. You are going to get this handout. Oops, if I can get it. Let's see if I can just pull it up here. There we go. So you're going to get this handout along with some other materials, so you can review that. So reinforcement should be something that your child wants. We've just been talking about that. So looking at what will be motivating to your student. If at all possible, try and use some natural reinforcers. So for example, if you're working on teaching some language skills with your child and they appropriately request for the car, then you give them the car, and that's a great natural reinforcer. You want to give your students 2 to 5 choices of reinforcers that they can choose from, so that they feel like they have some control, and we're assured that it's continuing to be motivating for them and it's truly something that they want. We want to make sure we're assessing that frequently, because as motivators change, they can change on a minute-to-minute basis or a day-to-day basis. So we want to make sure what was reinforcing yesterday is still reinforcing today. We're going to use reinforcement when a desired behavior occurs. So we want to identify what that behavior is, what we're targeting, and then have the reinforcer ready. And we're going to reinforce attempts. Even if you have to help your child, that's okay. We're going to work on fading out those supports so that we can get independence from your child, but we want to really keep them feeling positive about what they're doing. So we're going to reinforce all those attempts. That reinforcement is going to come immediately following the behavior that you are seeking. So for new behaviors and for new learners, you are going to want to reinforce every successive time. So as they get more confident with that skill and as they progress, you're going to have higher and higher expectations, but you're going to do that very gradually. So the reinforcer should come within 3 to 5 seconds of the desired behavior. And again, the younger or the newer the learner is, the quicker you want that reinforcement. So it's really associated with the desired behavior that you're looking for. As children progress and kind of figure out this whole system, then they'll be okay having a little bit more space between the behavior and the reinforcement. So make sure that you have all of those readily available and they're there for a quick delivery after your child has performed that behavior. And again, always pair social praise with the tangible reward. So we want to be able to maintain the power of the reinforcer. And we do that by making it inaccessible at other times. So if you are using an iPad as a reinforcer, that would be put away at other times so that when you need it as that motivator or that reinforcement, it still has that powerful effect for your student. We're going to offer choices, and that way we're still confident that what your child is working for is something that they've chosen and what is motivating for them. And again, we're going to pair that with very specific verbal praise so that they know exactly what they've done well. And as new behaviors are learned, you're going to gradually raise expectations and fade that reinforcement over time. All right. So that frequency of reinforcement, so how often you're reinforcing your child. Again, when you have a new learner or you're teaching a new skill or it's a particularly challenging skill for your child, you're going to want to reinforce after every occurrence of the desired behavior. Once they're feeling confident in that skill, you're going to gradually start spacing out the reinforcement. So you might go every other occurrence of that behavior at first. We will often, if we're teaching a token board, and they have been accustomed to having reinforcement after every occurrence of the behavior or the skill, then we might preload a token board so that all they have to do is do one problem. Good job, you did that problem. And we put that star on there. They count off the stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job, you get the stickers. Okay, so we're gonna do that for a few times, and then pretty soon we're going to expect them to get 2 stars before they receive the stickers, okay? So they're gonna do one problem. Good job, you did the problem. Awesome. And then they're gonna do another problem. You did it, you finished your problems. Good job. So we count them off. And we get a sticker, okay? So we keep doing that until we have 3 that we expect them to do. And then we have 4 problems that they need to do before they get their reinforcement. And that can be like a work problem, it can be a specific behavior, it can be steps to a routine, it can be anything like that that you're reinforcing. Okay, and then pretty soon we get where we're doing all 5. And as your child gets accustomed to to this token board, then we can add more as they get older and have more skills. So this one has specific behavioral expectations that we are looking for, and we're putting either a star or a smiley face or a check mark in that box. And so we have more expectations as they get older. All right, so the token boards allow us to acknowledge their efforts with each token, but delay their gratification for their reinforcement. So we're gradually getting them to have more, do more for the same amount of reinforcement, okay? Just stretching that out a bit. Okay, so some different token boards that, and any variety of them are out there, but you can look at making a token board that matches your child's preferred item or character or anything like that. And that makes the tokens even funner to receive, that each token has one of their favorite items on it, like a Minion or Legos. And then of course, most of our token boards will have a little spot here that says I am working for, and I'll show you a reinforcer menu that they can choose from. So here's one, and where a student has chosen to go play outside when they're done, and their tokens are these little chips. Okay, and that's what they're earning. But we often will have a spot for what are you working for, so the student, so it's really clear what they've chosen as their reinforcer, and it gives them a visual reminder of, oh yeah, this, I can make it, I can do this, because I know what's at the end here. And then these little tokens that are like minions and things help it along the way, because each one is reinforcing in and of itself. You can do a simple, here's a star chart that somebody just wrote out. Here's the student's expectations: clean up my toys, ask for things using nice words, play with my dog using gentle hands. And they are earning stickers. And some students, like I said, the stickers will be enough and they'll be happy with the stickers. Others need to kind of cash something in at the end. So this one says 20 stickers equal I get to play Angry Birds for 10 minutes. So their stickers are representing a reinforcer at the end of that. You can do a penny board, and these are great for also working on math skills and money skills. So we can show you a variety of those. Here's one that's pretty generic, and you can check it off. And like they said, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can do your little boxes on a sticky pad or a piece of paper, and when the student does that skill, and that skill, then they get whatever you guys decided at the beginning of that work session. Okay, and here's a nice little puzzle token board. And this one happens to be a picture of what the student is going to get once they've earned it. Each piece represents a token. So say every word problem that they do, they get a piece of their iPad puzzle. And when they've completed all of those, then they get, say, 15 minutes of iPad time. So this picture can either represent what they're working for, or it can just be a preferred item, and they're putting that puzzle together in order to get the next tangible reinforcer that you guys have decided on. All right, so you want to make sure that you have a menu of reinforcers. So you've gone through and figured out, what does your student like? What would they like to work for? And you're deciding that with your student's actually deciding that before you get started, so that they have kind of that motivator out there of what they're working for, okay? So for an older student, it might be a list of items. For younger students, it might be pictures of items or little cue cards that they are selecting and putting on their token board, okay? For older students, they can usually handle more work and higher expectations. So in a lot of the examples you saw, they were being reinforced for every step of a routine, for every problem they were doing. Older students are going to be able to handle either chunking an assignment and being reinforced for parts of an assignment. They might be reinforced for the whole assignment. They might be reinforced for half a day or a whole day. You can extend that over a week. It depends on your student and how much they can tolerate and handle and how much motivation they need. And we're going to be here to help you figure all of that out. So I do encourage you to attend our question and answer sessions that occur next week on Tuesday from 5 to 6 and Thursday from 11 to 12. But really, we are there to help you, and we can help you figure out what kind of system to use for your student and how much time they can tolerate doing the work or the expected behavior before being reinforced. So but as a general rule of thumb, older students can handle a little bit more, and you can get through a bigger chunk of work or behavioral expectations. You may, with older students, teenagers, you might need to be a little more subtle about it, because some might be a little resistive to anything that looks like it's for young kids or doesn't look cool or whatever. So you just might need to be a little bit more subtle about it. So you might say, hey, finish your math homework and then we'll go get a Dutch Brothers, or we'll go to the skate park or something like that. You still may want to track it with a little check box, like here's your expected assignments, let's get through all of these, and then we'll go take a nice break at the, at the park or whatever. You want to make sure you give genuine age-appropriate praise. So for example, you might say, hey, you put a lot of time and effort into that essay and it shows. It's really well organized. They still need that positive feedback. And I know sometimes as kids acquire skills, we get a little bit lax on that because we think, oh, they got it, yeah. But everybody needs to hear that positive feedback. So don't forget to give it to even our teens. And consider what might motivate your older student. So it might be time with friends, even if it's video chatting these days. It might be a free pass from chores. That would be a winner in my household. It might be video games or extra TV time. It might be movie night. They get to pick the movie for the family that night. Might be family game night. It might be some crafting time. So a lot of teens like to do those crafts. So that might be a fun thing to do. So you have to really kind of think about your child and what is going to be that motivator for them. So remember, we're going to give very specific praise or feedback because we want our students to know what it is they're being reinforced for. We want to make sure to stay positive. we really want them to be encouraged and to learn the appropriate behaviors for what we want them to do. And this is the best way to do it, is to have the positive reinforcement. Okay, so once a token is earned, please don't be tempted to take it off or to threaten to take it off. I know sometimes it can be a real struggle with students and if they're resistant to work. But if we're removing that, then we have lost trust in the system and the reinforcement that we have put in place for students. I know I wouldn't be happy if I had earned my paycheck at the end of the month and somebody took it away from me. I would not be happy about that. So we don't want to create that kind of animosity and that kind of relationship with our kids. We want to stay positive, and we want to keep them wanting to learn and wanting to engage in appropriate behaviors. So let's keep it positive. We're going to gradually increase our expectations, because we don't want to always be reinforcing after every single positive behavior or skill. We want to make sure that we start there and then we increase those expectations, but it's going to be gradual. And again, we will help you with that. And if your child's behavior is not changing, then we may need to look at changing the reinforcer or the frequency with when your child is being reinforced, okay? But again, we're there to help, and we'll help you figure all of this out. So of course, you've got homework. What you're going to do after this session is you're going to complete the reinforcement survey, all right? And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull it up here. I seem to be having trouble with that. But you will have a reinforcement survey in your packet. And it's just looking at some different categories and having you go in and identify what things motivate your child in different categories, so that you're kind of thinking like a lot of different examples, because we do want to have a variety of motivators out there, so that we don't have your kids burning out on a certain motivator and then having it not work. So we want to have a variety of options. Okay, and then you're going to figure out what type of reinforcement system you're going to use with your child, which you think is going to be the most effective. And again, we are here to help, so please come to the question and answer sessions, and we'll help you figure this out. And you can choose one of the provided token boards. They'll be in the packet. You can make a customized one for your child if you've got like this great idea after seeing a few examples. You're like, I know what's going to work with my student. Or you can ask your school team for help in creating one, okay? We will help you make a reinforcement system and a token board that will help your child and be customized for your child. Okay, so please come to the question and answer help sessions. We want to help you help your child succeed. So Tuesday, October 6th, between 5 and 6 p.m. These are Zoom sessions, and you can come in at any time during that hour period. We're just here to help support you and to answer your questions and, again, help your child succeed. So there's one on October 6th and another one Thursday, October 8th, between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. Here's the Zoom link. And I think that is it. All right, so we hope to see you there. Have fun motivating your student. Thanks a lot, you guys. Bye.